After years of doing treatment foster care for troubled teens who were between the ages of 12 and 18, and helping all of them conquer their anxieties over different things and the attacks that they would have, I thought I understood anxiety attacks. But then I had my own experience with anxiety after the birth of my fourth child. And I have a greater understanding and an appreciation for what people go through with anxiety than I ever had before. By the end of this video, you'll know the steps for how to calm down from an anxiety attack. What happens to you or your loved one during an anxiety attack? Go ahead and put it in the comments below. Every person experiences anxiety slightly different than another person. Let me tell you how it was for me. So I'm a pretty level-headed person. I'm pretty strong in all of my feelings, and logically I'm really strong, and I just never had any problem with fear or worries or anxiety at all. In fact, I can honestly say that in my childhood, when my mother struggled with depression a bit, I was a bit judgmental of her, I guess you could say. Not very kind, but it's true, I was. So even though I had some bouts with anxiety, I actually am profoundly grateful for those, because they helped me understand what my poor mother went through for so many years when I was a child. It started like this for me. I was pregnant and I was preparing for the birth of my fourth child. I've done this before. I've been around the block, right? I had in my mind exactly how it was going to go. And then when I got to the hospital to have that baby, everything went anything but what I had planned. It was not normal. I went into shock and my brain experienced a shift. They told me later on that I had experienced post-traumatic stress because of the complications due to the birth, and basically because my brain was not ready to handle what had happened to my body. So anyway, at about 2 weeks after the birth of my fourth child, Porter, I felt my brain shift. Something happened. I felt it happen. And I remember running outside because I felt like everything was closing in on me. Suddenly I had claustrophobia. Suddenly I couldn't stand being around other people that much, and I needed to go into my own world and just stay there for safety. I'm an extrovert. That is not normal. In the end, I called my mother, who, bless her heart, had been through a lot of this before, and she immediately got me the help I needed to get my brain chemicals back on track in that time of post-traumatic stress. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to go through that recovery. Anxiety is a real thing. It's something that many people are dealing with. There are a lot of factors for why the anxiety is happening, and those factors are talked about in some of my other videos. So subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss those. But in this video, we're going to talk about the steps that I taught myself and that I went through to conquer my own moments of anxiety. This 5-step process that I use to calm down from anxiety attacks feels really natural and even becomes automatic. It's something that you can turn into a habit. That's what I did, and it's changed my life. Let's get into the process. Step number 1 is to recognize. You have to know what it feels like when the anxiety is happening. Do you get something happening in your stomach, in your chest? Do you start to get a tenseness somewhere? What happens to you when that anxiety is starting to happen? Do you get a thought that keeps going in your mind and won't stop, like a broken record? What is it? Or does the sound start to make you feel like retreating? You need to identify that bit for yourself, so that as soon as you recognize the first hint of that first bit of anxiety come on, that you can take control. Step 1 is recognize. Step number 2 is to stop. To stop yourself before you do or say anything, even before you think another thought. Stop. It's okay to pause and take a break. It will get better if you take a minute before you take action. Step number 3 is to question yourself. It's important that you take some time to evaluate you, to assess what's really going on. Wait a minute, I'm feeling that tightness in my neck. I'm feeling, whatever it is. So you recognize, you stop, and then you tell yourself, this is what is happening to me. Then you ask a question as part of that assessment. You might ask this question, which is one I use a lot. Am I calm? Because that's the goal, to be calm. Anxiety is the opposite of calm. So you say, am I calm? If the answer is yes, then I can plan to move forward. Hopefully you already identified within yourself what calmness feels like, what the sound of calmness is from your voice, and the look of calmness in your face, and how it feels in your body. That way you can evaluate better, am I calm for real? When I ask myself this question, I focus on the truth. The truth is, I'm not calm right now because I already recognized an indicator that I was not calm. So I've reminded myself where I'm going by asking myself a question, but then have acknowledged, no, I am not yet, which gives me permission to do something about it. Truth is an important part of overcoming an anxiety attack because oftentimes it's the lies that trick us. When I thought the sky was falling, I couldn't shower. I would get in that box, and at my house, it's not even a very small box. It's kind of a bigger shower, And then I would get into that box to shower, and I would start to panic. And then I had to tell myself, this is a shower, Nicolene. You have done this so many times. You've done it your whole life. You've lived in this house for this many years. This is not going to hurt you. You want this shower. You'll feel better because of it. I had to talk to myself like that. I had to tell myself the truth and push away the lies. So when you've asked yourself the question, am I calm? And you've determined definitely not, then immediately part of this questioning step is to tell yourself the truth so that you can have focus of what you can believe around you, because the anxiety is a lie. You may feel something, your chemicals may be firing, you may be on autopilot in a direction you don't like, but the things that it is telling you to be afraid of and to worry about, it's a lie. You don't have to be. It's a lie. Step number 4 is to instruct yourself. The Teaching Self-Government program teaches 4 basic skills: following instructions, accepting no answers, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Following instruction is the most basic fundamental skill set for a person to learn if they're going to learn self-mastery. We teach our children how to follow instructions by giving them instruction and teaching them the 5-step process that goes with that. But that 5-step process for following an instruction also applies to us. A self-governed person gives them self-instruction. So after I tell myself the truth, I have showered before, this is not going to kill me, it's going to be okay, then I tell myself the first instruction. Nicolene, turn on the water. Nicolene, reach for the shampoo. Even if I have to tell myself out loud. Sometimes saying something out loud can overpower that voice that seems so loud in your head that is leading you astray. It's programming you for defeat. But if you focus on the truth, your real voice can conquer, and you can program yourself for success and empowerment instead. Step number 5 is to evaluate yourself. After you have been through that moment, so after I took the full shower and I got out of the shower, then I could say to myself, how did I do? Did I really get calm? Did I conquer that anxiety attack? Yes, because I took the full shower, I focused on the truth, I instructed myself through it, I conquered. Then you praise yourself. Part of that personal evaluation is giving yourself a good mark. You did well. And when you praise yourself for something, you're more likely to repeat that again in the future because you know that you've already done it. I know that anxiety is a real thing. And I know that for everybody, it's different. I've just described what it was like for me. And I have to say it was debilitating at times. Until I decided I needed to deliberately conquer it. We have to do that for ourselves, and we need to help our children with it too. When children are angry, when we're angry, oftentimes we're acting from a place of anxiety. Now that we've had this conversation about anxiety, the next video you'll want to watch is how to help a child calm down when angry.